What's up, guys? Chris Flores here, Flow Fitness, and welcome to another episode of Men Mentoring Men. I'm excited about today's guest. To my right here, my boy Paul is coming out, boss.
Yes.
We were actually just talking off camera, and the stuff Paul's about to say kind of blew my mind. And I actually have notes from what he was saying before, so I'm gonna jump in with the notes. But tell us a little about tending to your garden.
So yeah, I was telling Chris this summer I've had some really great adventures in my garden, my mom's garden, and it's been my first year really gardening at all. I'm usually pretty horrible with plants, so it was like a pretty big feat maintaining it. But I was telling Chris, I learned a lot of life lessons while I was tending to this garden, and I realized that there were some things that really applied to life in general. Like, so for example, we were talking about seeds in the garden. So my mom planted some pretty amazing flowers in her garden, and as much as I didn't water and as much as I liked to, they were resilient and they came out. But the thing that really got me was that even though she had planted seeds, there were other things that still grew. So other plants, whether spawned from neighbors' flowers or from weeds, there's always things that are going to grow in the garden. So we can plant some things, right, and have beautiful products and beautiful flowers that we want. But then also weeds can come up that we did not plant, and that's when the maintaining of the garden. Because I was telling Chris, today I really focused on working on my garden today because I had really neglected it pretty much the whole month of August, and I really wanted to make it a good-looking garden because it was a reflection of me and it made me feel good. So I recognized that maintaining the garden was just as important as the kind of seeds that you sow. So whether it's, we talked about being active, like for men especially, there's this condition in our society where like, hey, we're men, we get the big piece of chicken, we go and work hard, and, we sit in our couch and TV, and we watch ESPN, all these conditions and things about men, and like, we're not active. Like, we have high blood pressure, we have cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, we're not being active, knee problems, shoulder problems, chest pains, all these things because we're not active, right? We're not maintaining our body, we're not maintaining our mindset. And that's when I realized, like, listen, by me not maintaining, these weeds crept in. I was telling Chris about this adventure with the vines. Like, I was taking vines out of my butterfly bush. They took me over, man. I think I was crying. I'm like, thank goodness I had neighbors there. They were able to cut me loose. But it was just like, there's those things that happen within the garden. And listen, there's things that happen like that. It's so crazy because, like, you can take care of something in 1 week. Like, I could water it 1 week.
Right.
And then I could come back the next week and it's full of weeds.
Yeah, I think that's what, not to cut you off, what we were talking about was mindset. And your mindset can shift if you don't monitor it. You don't monitor what's going on. Your mindset can be contaminated with the weeds, with negativity, with people saying you can't do certain things, with all this stuff. And if you don't take that time investment, which is the biggest thing we're talking about, time investment, and invest that time into yourself, into helping yourself become more positive, into your mindset. And one of the things we were talking about was the quick fix.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there, and especially for the guys now, I know it's football season and everybody wants to sit here and watch the game, but you got people crying about, oh, my kid doesn't know how to do this, my kid can't change a light bulb, my kid can't build this, my kid doesn't know how to change the oil in the car. What are you doing on that time you have with them? Because they're in school most of the time, then they're in sports, right? And on Sundays, let's say on weekends, you have time to spend with them, and you're at the bar with your homeboys for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And that could have been time you could have invested in your child. That's in the time you could invest it in your wife or your significant other and building that relationship or building up that garden, like you're talking about, taking care of that garden. Because if you're not taking care of that, it's all falling apart. What fault do you have in it? And are you investing the time into it?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, especially for men, because listen, again, culture-wise, I mean, I feel like our role is not as defined as it was, or as it used to be in our parents' generation. And I find that, a lot of times we, as a society, we want that quick fix. And I was telling Chris, like, everyone's telling me, like, hey, man, just get some weed cleaner and put it in your garden. And I'm like, how the hell does this solution know what's a weed and what's a plant?
Right.
So I'm taking the risk here of, like, okay, if I'm not maintaining, or if I'm just going to go release some stress and go watch football and beer or drink beer, what have you. Okay, I could take that quick fix and make me feel good that way. But that problem, whatever that's caused that stress, is still there.
Right.
It's like the vines. I can pull the vines out of the bush, but I can wreck the whole bush. But if I take a pruner and I go in and I go to where the root of the vine is and chop little by little, I still save the bush. So, something to think about.
That's a lot to think about right there. I hope you guys got the analogy between tending to your garden and the way it corresponds to your soul, mind, body, and soul, and taking care of that. If you don't invest the time in yourself, you don't invest the time in taking care of your own garden, it's not going to grow, or if it does grow, it's going to grow sporadically, and you never know what's growing inside of it if you're not tending to it. So all that, again, negativity, bad stuff can pop up, hanging out with the wrong people. The wrong people can be significant of the weeds growing through. Like you got all these weeds coming and taking and eating all your fruits up and killing the roots of something else, and you're wondering why, oh man, this isn't turning out the way I wanted to. So watch the weeds, tend to your garden, invest time in yourself. We got more with Paul, so thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Also,
and gents, take care of yourself. You deserve it.